Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Network, Thursday, July 14th, and I just did a video report detailing the specific things Bernie Sanders complimented Hillary Clinton on during his endorsement speech, but really don't match the record. So, had to call Bernie out. It's my job, even though I'm definitely open that I leaned towards Bernie. Can't let him get away if he's saying things that aren't true on stage. But bigger picture, I kind of wanted to react and respond to a lot of the comments out there, a lot of the social media comments, a lot of comments under my videos, and just general feeling of hurt, betrayal, feeling that you've been sold a bill of goods from Bernie Sanders, because I think it's important that I be clear. I, by no means, am going to tell anyone how to feel. Your decision is yours, how you feel about any candidate, how you feel about Bernie Sanders, how you feel about Hillary Clinton, and also, you know, how you feel about how Bernie endorsed Hillary Clinton. I met a lot of people, you know, up in New Hampshire the day of that felt betrayed, felt like Bernie's just another bullshit artist. And I met a lot of people who were more reasonable and, you know, were disappointed but understood it. You know, to me, there's a few things. Number one, at the end of the day, Bernie lost. Now, we could get into whether he lost legitimately or not. I think that it's very clear he was purged in New York. I think he was purged in Arizona, meaning he had tons of voters that potentially were Bernie Sanders voters were purged. There were Pennsylvania, other states that there were issues. I think it's possible he actually won Iowa. I think it's possible he actually won Kentucky. But in Iowa, he lost by less than 0.3%, and then they announced her as the winner on cable news while the counting was still going on. Same in Kentucky. So, do I think that Bernie was robbed to the point where he would have totally closed the gap and pledged delegates? I really don't know. I'm not going to make a statement that I don't know for sure, but I will say when I say he lost, I understand there's plenty of caveats. But the bottom line is, having covered voter suppression, as I did in New York, having covered a lot of these voting issues, we're not going to fix that in one election. So this is not going to be fixed right now. So we could rant and we could bitch about Bernie was robbed, and I'm not disagreeing, but we got to look at reality now. So the reality now is this. Bernie Sanders could have went to the convention, not endorsed her, and sat on the sidelines outside protesting. Because I guarantee you Hillary Clinton and the Clintons, who are the most transactional politicians known to man, they were not going to give Bernie Sanders a platform on that stage if he didn't endorse her first. Now, why does it matter if he gets a speech at some convention? Some of you might ask. You'd rather him go guns a-blazing, Game of Thrones style into the convention and fight. I understand that, but this is why it matters. The DNC and the RNC are a platform where the candidate gets to talk not just to the fire-breathing supporters that have been following them all primary, not just the supporters of the other candidate, but people who are just tuning in for the first time. A lot of people are not as diehard as you or I into politics, and the first time they're really paying attention to the general election candidates are the conventions and then the general election debates. Most people just don't have the time, or it's not their interest. They're on BuzzFeed, or they're playing Pokemon Go, whatever the hell it is. They're not political diehards. So Bernie calculated, I think, you know what? I could get in front of 10 to 15 million people in prime time, which I bet you is going to be the case, to give my vision, to give the progressive movement's vision. Bernie's not going to go up there and read a speech that Hillary Clinton wrote for him. He's going to call out a lot of the same establishment people in that room who have contributed to the income inequality. Now, that might not matter to you, but I think that is a very constructive plan to try to reach the masses. And you know what? Think back to 2004.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. There is not a black America and a white America and Latino America and Asian America. There's the United States of America.
How many people do you think came away from that night being like, God damn, that John Kerry's amazing? No. They came away from that convention remembering Barack Obama's speech, not John Kerry's speech. Now, Bernie's probably not going to run again, but the bottom line is, who are you going to be inspired from at the DNC? Hillary Clinton or Tim Kaine or whoever vice president she picks? Elizabeth Warren, who frankly, who knows what she is these days? No. Bernie Sanders is going to give a Bernie barn burner. He's not only going to inspire you, but a lot of people who haven't paid attention are going to be woken up to, oh my God, I didn't even know about the income inequality, how bad it is. Is that why I haven't gotten a raise in 10 years? Is that why I've had to move to a smaller apartment? Is that why I'm struggling just to pay my rent? A lot of people don't connect the dots because they haven't been paying attention. So I think that is number one why Bernie calculated it. The fact that he decided to endorse her 2 weeks prior at a news conference or a speech in New Hampshire, yeah, it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch someone that you believe in, that you think is honest and genuine and authentic, going on stage with someone who's exactly the opposite. But he also is a politician, and there's things you have to do as a politician sometimes that are transactional to reach the greater good. And I think that's what he was thinking. The other thing that I think a lot of people are losing sight of is, Bernie is positioning himself for the future. He's going to go back, not because he wants to be the greatest and biggest senator known to history for his ego, but he wants to have influence in the Senate. Well, the way you do that is by creating a Democratic platform that states your goals. Now, I'm on record saying Hillary Clinton's going to wipe her ass with the Democratic platform. I don't think it's important that Bernie got a lot of his progressive policies on the platform because I think she's actually going to honor those commitments. I think it's important because if Hillary Clinton becomes president, because my colleague Emma Vigeland has reported on, it ain't clear at this point. We could be seeing Trump in the White House. But if Hillary Clinton becomes president, let's say it's 2 months, 3 months in, she starts flip-flopping all over the place. She goes against her commitments in the Democratic platform, in the Democratic primary. You have on paper, you have it very black and white, that she is abandoning these positions. And you know who the first senator is to filibuster against Hillary Clinton? Take a guess. You know who the first senator is going to be to go outside on the Capitol and rally 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people? Part of our revolution is the new hashtag, Bernie Sanders. So at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, what can you get? I have lost. Whether I lost fairly or squarely, it doesn't matter. I have lost, so what can I get? I could get a primetime speech in 2 weeks to talk to millions and millions of people, particularly people who might not have been paying attention, and try and get them inspired. And I could get on paper her positions, so she is committed to those positions, and when she starts to evolve, it's going to weaken her in the short term as president, because there is going to be, I don't want to call it a Tea Party on the left, but this movement is not going anywhere, and it's going to hold her accountable. And also, when you start flip-flopping 3 months into your presidency, doesn't necessarily help you in 4 years when you're primaried. So I think you guys, I totally understand the raw emotion, the feeling of betrayal, but I don't think you should lose sight of why he might be doing these things. And the last thing, just from a human perspective, I don't carry water for Bernie Sanders. I don't know him. I've spoken with him once. I tried to get an interview with him, but I digress. But I also think we should not lose sight. This is not a spry young man who, has been angling to be president for a decade. He decided to do this because he wanted to raise the issues that are important, not only to him, but millions of people. He also did it at 74. He didn't have to do it. He didn't do it for money. And I know him well enough. He didn't do it for fame. I just saw him when I covered him in California, traveling with him. The guy was physically and mentally exhausted. He went around the country for over a year, and he gave blood, sweat, tear, time with his kids, time with his grandkids. So I think, yes, you could be emotional, you could call him a sellout, and that's fine. But I also think we shouldn't lose sight. He's not quitting because he's just tired and, I'm just lazy. He's doing things to set up the progressive movement for the future and to also make it a lot easier should Elizabeth Warren, Zephyr Teachout, or whoever picks up the torch for next time, make it a lot easier and have them have a much bigger progressive audience next time around. So, if you want to feel betrayed, if you want to hate him, that's fine. If you want to say, I'm falling in line, do what you want. Listen, I'm not going to be one of these journalists on the progressive side, on the right-wing side, who just breathes fire out of my mouth to give you what you want. That's bullshit. It's not good for you, and it's not good for me. Might get me more views, but I'm not going to just tell you what you want. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not full of it. Sometimes I'm going to tell you things that you probably don't want to hear, and sometimes I'm going to tell you things that you might not like. But the sign of a good journalist is not to give you what you want. That's called propaganda, and it's Fox News. Sign of good journalism is to tell you information you might not know, to tell you why it's important, and most importantly, to show you what's important. I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but I am going to tell you, think about why he's doing what he's doing, because I want to make people think in ways they might have not thought because they're being brainwashed by cable news and these digital sites that pretend to be journalists but are really just public relations for politicians. So, hope I don't lose you. I'm not falling in line. If you watch my last few videos for the few weeks after the primary ended, I don't think I've done any videos kind to Hillary Clinton, certainly not Donald Trump. I'm not giving blowjobs out, and I'm doing what I think is right. So, for more, youtube.com/TYTpolitics. I will see you at the Republican National Convention. I just got a bulletproof vest. I'm not exaggerating. It's going to be a little bit of wild, wild west out there. And I hope you guys will watch me there. Take care.